Dundee, city of discovery, a place which contains all that is best in Scotland: enterprise, commitment, resilience, and a quality of living difficult to match elsewhere. The abundance of leisure facilities helps put Dundee at the top of independent surveys investigating standards of living around the country. Hardly surprising considering Dundee is in the heart of an area recognised as the home of golf. Its parklands boast absolute tranquility, with all ages catered for, and there can be few more well-balanced settings for the workplace than the Dundee Business Park, which has managed to combine old and new in the most pleasing manner. That high standard already set will be reflected in a multi-million-pound waterfront development which will transform the city's River Tay shoreline. Centrepiece will be Captain Scott's Royal Research Ship Discovery, built here in 1901 for his famous Antarctic expedition and now returned to the city of its birth. From the continual development of the town centre to the award-winning housing programme, like this much-acclaimed mill conversion, Dundee is proving every day that it's going places. And it couldn't be easier to reach with a transport system of road, rail and urban airport second to none. Just as Dundee's reputation as a place to live and work has grown, so too has its football fame. Today, the city's name is revered across Europe when footballing excellence and the sportsmanship of supporters is talked about.
In the past, Dundee Football Club have had a very good record, but over the late 70s and all through the 80s, Dundee United have been to the fore, not just on the playing field, but also on the terraces, where their supporters have been recognised in Europe as the best behaved supporters.
United! 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 We are the champions! And we go to Tannadice because the boys who wear the black and tangerine are gonna take us on a European dream. We are the champions, and we're Scotland's #1 because we play the rest and put them out of sight. We are united.
That is Nettie playing in midfield today with Richard Gough in centre defence. Milne wriggles clear, might just get the chip, and he does. He's scored! Oh, what a great goal! If it is possible, I have my eyes on the referee. It's gone. That's it, the finish. United have done it for the first time in their history.
His longest-serving manager is doing what he does best: coaching the youngsters entrusted with the future of Dundee United. They're now being asked to bring further success to Tannadice to match the achievements of their predecessors. To rise to the heights achieved by Neary, Milne, Hegarty, Malpass, Bannon, Sturrock and company will be no mean feat, because under the guidance of Jim McLean, those players turned a small provincial club into one of the biggest names in European football. At home they won 2 League Cups and the Scottish League Championship. Abroad they reached a UEFA Cup final and a European Cup semi-final. Tannadice wouldn't be the same today if it weren't for the appointment of Jim McLean as coach in December 1971.
Jim McLean was coach at Dens Park, and the Dundee players always looked at the peak of fitness. And when he approached us, we took a chance on Jim McLean. The first thing he asked for was a stopwatch to get the players speeded up.
Well, the first priority was assessing the staff that was here, obviously, but in one of the first practice matches I stopped it within 5 or 10 minutes, and I thought that the 11 coaches in the park, nobody was prepared to do any running, and at the end of the day, getting them fitter, getting them a wee bit better organised was the first steps that I took in trying to get an improvement here at Tannadice.
At that time, you know, as far as a force in football was concerned, Dundee United were well down the list in Scotland and obviously in Europe as well. And when I came along, there was only the manager and a physiotherapist on the staff, and then I think we'd be lucky if we had 25 full-time pros at that time.
With limited resources, the manager first consolidated, then made steady progress until 1975, when United finished 4th in the First Division, their best ever league performance. But league reconstruction proved a major setback the following year.
There's no doubt at all that there's nobody old enough to remember this, but I said at the time that the scramble for Premier Division places was coming a year too soon for us, because we definitely were well on our way to getting a youth policy really settled, and also getting the team, in my opinion, far better prepared on the field. And it was very fortunate for us to finish clear of relegation that year. I think it was in the last game we needed a point at Ibrox, and it's not often we've gone there and got a point, but we managed that and we stayed up. But who knows what would have happened if we had gone down at that time, because we would have had to probably sell some of the young talent we had at the time.
It was the narrowest of escapes for United, with goal difference keeping them and Aberdeen in the Premier Division, while Dundee were relegated with St Johnstone. But with that hurdle crossed, United bounced back to finish 4th next season, while firing a warning shot that the Glasgow stranglehold on silverware was losing its grip.
Again, McLean will take it. Colin Jackson moving downfield, nobody picking him up at the moment. McLean through, not gathered, down to Jackson, and it's there. McLean in the clear, Robertson and Johnson in the middle, McDonald at the edge of the box, and what a goal! What a goal by Alec McDonald! Wallace taking the kick. Sturrock must score, and he does. Beautiful goal by Paul Sturrock. Good cross, McAdam. Wallace bundled off it, and that's a penalty. And a long, long run from Hamish McAlpin. Here goes. Beautifully stuck away by McAlpin. McAdam wins it. Fleming forward to Sturrock. Wallace is square. Sturrock out in front to Wallace. Wallace scores, and it's 3-2.
4th spot in the league secured a valuable UEFA Cup place and began a remarkable run which has seen United compete in Europe for 14 successive seasons, with the Tannadice men finishing 3rd in each of the next 2 years. In December 1979, United were in their first League Cup final. Wins over Airdrie, Queen's Park and Raith Rovers set up a 6-2 semi-final thrashing of Hamilton at East End Park. The Hampden final against Aberdeen ended goalless.
In as far as we went to Hampden, and really at the end of the day came away with a draw, which we probably didn't merit. You know, our performance that day was very, very poor. The bonus was obviously the game being shifted to Dens Park. And I was sitting in the changing room before the game, and I knew we were going to win the game. There are certain times in certain games, I don't know, at times I've sat in the dressing room and knew before we kicked off that there was only going to be one winner. And that night, when we run out onto Dens Park, the crowd was incredible, you know, and obviously we finished up winning the game quite easily.
Kirkwood is still down, but that's a good ball to Pettigrew. Still a chance. He scored. 14 minutes gone. Dundee United have taken the lead. Perfect clash, is a great ball. Clark is out. Oh, great play by Clark. Read it well. Right out of his goal, out of his penalty area. Nenny again. Now Capel to Bannon. Beautifully cultured player, Bannon. Holt. Sturrock on the left again. Fleming is inside. That's Pettigrew done it. McLeish. Now Sturrock on the break. Willie Pettigrew's inside and he's on the clear. An own goal. 3-0. The break was on by Sturrock. He had pace and drive. Kept his eye on the ball. Looked up for Pettigrew, couldn't see him, tried to curl it round, and Willie Miller nudged it away from Clark. And there it goes, the final whistle. United have won the Scottish League Cup. There is Jim McLean, having been near honours so often. And this is United's first major win in their long history.
Well, I think the directors have been magnificent in all the time I've been here, and I remember that night Mr Robertson, who really we tend to forget what in particular he and other directors have done for Dundee United over the years, and he stood with almost tears in his eyes when he said that, Jim, I never thought I'd live to see this day. And it was tremendous for me to hear that statement, and it was a great boost to feel that we had helped fulfil a lifetime ambition by Mr Robertson and other directors as well, and that even the supporters realising that we'd won our first trophy. It was magnificent to be part of it.
12 months later, United had the chance of another League Cup final appearance. Having disposed of East Fife, Cowdenbeath, Motherwell and Clydebank, Celtic were the opponents in the two-leg semi. With the Tannadice match ending 1-1, Celtic were favourites to finish the tie in Glasgow, but United had other ideas.
Here's Bannon forcing his way forward, goes past McLean. There's Payne, a great driven ball. Willie Pettigrew gives Dundee United a perfect start with 3 minutes on the clock. Davy Dodds, the tall figure at the far post. McLean heads out. Another chance for Bannon. Near post this time. That is a marvellous goal from Paul Sturrock. And the holders, Dundee United, now firmly in the driving seat. Bad ball forward, there's Pettigrew. Now he might go all on his own. He's got Sturrock wide on the outside. No danger for Celtic. There's Dodds. That's it! The perfect finish to a marvellous move. Davy Dodds makes it 3-0.
That was one of the best performances since I've been manager, and it was terrific to see the way that we can play at Tannadice, that at that time we went down to Glasgow on one of the few occasions and really showed them what we were capable of doing up in the east.
Just could not lose to Dundee. It was a situation that the pressure was so great. You know, the first time I really understood a Celtic Rangers Cup final, that there was just no way for to be able to live in the town and face your supporters could you lose. And again, we came out victors on the day, and it was again an instance where before the game I knew we were going to win.
Round with the outside of his foot for Dodds. Les Barr covers it. Sturrock coming across for it. This is what Sturrock's good at. That's excellent play. Dodds with a chance, he's done it. Payne. Oh, that's the bar. Must be, yes. That's a header again. Brilliant save, and it's in. Paul Sturrock. 3-0.
3 well-taken goals had earned United victory over their great city rivals and retained the League Cup, their second trophy in just 12 months. United therefore had booked their place in next year's UEFA Cup. But Jim McLean was keen to improve on his track record in European competition. Never had United progressed beyond the second round, and Monaco were fancied to stop them at the first.
That was the start, I think. That was the team. Bannon had come along by that time. He was playing regular in the team. By that time, Paul Higgart had settled into centre half after moving from centre forward, and there was a balance to the team. You know, there was it was near enough. You could near enough pick Dundee United's 13 every week around about that time. And again, the same thing happened. You know, for all the stars that they had and all the millions that they had spent. They were the same type of team, very undisciplined, wanted to go forward all the time, and again paid the penalty for it. And really they were an excellent side because they came here and beat us 2-1 in the second leg, and they were a far better team than that result showed.
The venue was Monaco, where the crowd included Prince Rainier, and he, like the other local inhabitants, must have been stunned by Dundee United's start. which produced 2 away goals in 20 minutes, the first here by Billy Kirkwood. It was a left-wing move which also produced the second, but this time the cross was low and the scorer David Dodds. Sweden's Ralph Edström lifted the morale of his French team by scoring a simple goal just after the hour. But it served to lift the Scots as well. And after a good run by Dodds was abruptly ended in the box, Eamon Bannon stepped forward for his first penalty of the match. (3-1). The Scots were certainly finding enough room in the Principality. Another pinpoint cross, met by Dodds, and it's 4-1. Then, on this attack, when one of his defenders took over the handling role, Eamon Bannon had the chance for another penalty. The Scots making quite sure that the referee knew where the spot was. Bannon repeated the medicine for 5-1. A mistake by McAlpine, a minute from time, which allowed Bellone to score a consolation goal for Monaco, maybe spoiled the goalkeeper's evening, but certainly didn't dampen the celebrations. 5-2 to Dundee United.
That was a magnificent performance in Monaco. They really thought that they would beat us, and they were actually a good side. They beat us here 2-1 in the return leg, but I think that we were complacent from the way we'd played over there and the result we'd got.
Away from home and winning 5-2 against one of the top clubs at that time in Europe, and a culmination of both, probably the Borussia game as well, were the two things that made the rest of Europe take notice of Dundee United.
I think that really was the turning point as far as us establishing ourselves in Europe as a team that we had our other clubs had to look out for, because that was one of the most exciting nights here at Tannadice.
The thing that really astounded us was when Borussia turned up here, the manager, who is now the manager of Bayern Munich, I think, had quoted in the papers that no team in Europe could beat Borussia with Borussia having a 2-0 lead, which kind of spurred the players on. The manager reminded us of that. He also reminded most of the support of that, of what their manager had said. So they got a very hostile reception when they came out here for their warm-up and for the start of the game, and our crowd were very, very noisy that night. And again, it was just one of those nights obviously we played two different styles. When we were at home, we played a typical Scottish style. We pressurised we wouldn't allow them to roll it out at the back and force them to kick it. When we went away from home, we played a typical counter-attacking style. They just could not handle us pressurising them like we did. We just didn't give them a minute on the ball, and the goals came. By the end of the game, half of them were wanting the whistle to blow as quickly as possible.
It was Paul Sturrock who really stood out for Dundee United. Sturrock here setting up Ralph Milne to drive his shot past goalkeeper Cleff. And right on half-time, Sturrock again involved, and Billy Kirkwood from 25 yards levelling the aggregate scores. 6 minutes into the second half now, and a bad header by Ringles. Sturrock's in the clear for the goal he deserved. Sturrock might have had a second, his header hitting a post, and a simple chance for Paul Hegarty. And then Eamon Bannon fashioned the perfect finale. Bannon, once of Chelsea, running half the length of the field with the Germans in his wake. A fitting end to arguably the best performance in Dundee United's history.
On the night, again, we had some inspirational performances from people like Bannon and Millen and that, and there is no substitute for positive play, and these people just destroyed the two fullbacks that Borussia had, made it easy for the team on the night.
Well, I think that we gained confidence in Monaco and we gained confidence with the Borussia result, and since winning these games, then obviously the players knew that they were better than they probably thought beforehand, and they knew they could beat some of the better sides in Europe. Up to then I had definitely the wrong attitude in that I was desperate to be involved in Europe, but it was costing the club money every year, and it was something that we approached in that it was necessary to be involved in, but it was going to cost us money. But when we beat Borussia, we started saying, oh, well, maybe we could go a wee bit further and be around semi-finals and finals. And if you're around semi-finals and finals, that's when the big money is.
Well, a tentative opening 20 minutes or so. On, flicked on, the goalkeeper doing well. Out to Bannon. Bannon's made it! And United get that vital opening goal. Played back by Hegarty into the path of Neri. And Neri makes it 2. Flighted over by Sturrock. There's Hegarty again. And that's the third. The United captain doing it again. Ralph Milne. Denier the first time. Billen. Davids. Beaten by Malpass. Davy Dodds is onside. Across towards Milne. And the perfect header to make it 4. The tie now surely well and truly won. But there's Ralph Milne. And there's goal number 5. Milne in splendid isolation as that cross came over. And he completely beat goalkeeper De Bruyne by picking his spot in the corner.
Another thrilling night at Tannadice as United took their 3-round goals tally to 16. For the first time ever, Jim McLean's team were in a European quarter-final against Radniki Nice. The Yugoslavs were to halt United's progress, but only after another Tayside European victory.
So Bannon with a kick. Headed away by Vojinovic. Back again to Neri. And this time, David Neri makes it count. Came to the corner kick on the left. Bannon flighting it in. The clearance coming out, finding its way to Neri. And I think in fairness, Milinkovic did not have any sight of that ball at all as it sped into the net. Now Radnicki looking a shade rattled defensively. And no wonder that Davy Dodds. Magnificent corner kick and a superb header. Jubilation for Hamish McAlpine and the United players. 1.5 minutes left in the first half. Now look at this corner kick, the driven ball from Bannon. Dodds attacking the ball and rifling that header into the net.
United enhanced their growing European status in next year's UEFA Cup competition with a 2-0 win over PSV Eindhoven in Holland, followed by a 3-1 aggregate defeat of Viking Stavanger. The West Germans' Werder Bremen proved to be a stiff test.
Camp, Bannon getting away from Gruber, Fichtel coming to meet him. Bannon gets it over. Ralph Milne makes it 1-0. Marvellous goal from Dundee United. Ralph Milne getting his 10th goal of the season. Beautifully created by Bannon on the left. Sitka, the king in the middle, there's Fowler. Back it comes to Meyer. One each. There's Neri. Marvellous goal from David Neri. Masterly finish from the United centre-back. Touched by Milne. Beautifully flighted by Neri. Gordinsky was off his line, he couldn't get to it. And that puts United back in the driving seat.
A fighting draw in West Germany saw United through to the quarter-finals once more, only to fall to Bohemians of Prague. However, Jim McLean was now free to concentrate on his league title challenge, with his next match against leaders Aberdeen at Pittodrie.
Goff foraging forward. That's a nice ball. Milne, great goal. It's a goal. The ball has gone in. It went over the line. 1-0 for Dundee United. David Dodds. Stark. Woods going a-begging. That's the second one. Milne. 2-0. Strachan will take it. And I think a penalty has been given. Has it? Penalty kick, yes, for that charge in Miller. He's done it. 2-1.
With Celtic losing at Dens, only 1 point now separated the top 3 challengers. After a 3-3 draw with Hibs at Tannadice, Rangers were next on Tayside.
Away by McLean, pressure still on. Now, Bannon. Well, that's curled in very well, that's it! Ralph Milne, there was no cover there. Now Cooper. Better move by Cooper. Drifts away, good ball to Clark. He's onside, good play by Clark, and it's in! He scored his first goal for Rangers. Goff. Good running by Milne. Can he get it? He does. Great play by Milne. Patterson, no good surely. Yes! Sturrock, 2-1. That's Eamon Bannon, Patterson with him. There's the chip. Still in play, and that's the third one by Sturrock. Neatly taken, practically on the final whistle.
I can recollect we had to play Celtic twice, a Saturday and a Wednesday. I remember losing the Saturday game in very disappointing circumstances. We'd played reasonably well in that game, and I think we lost 2-0 or 2-1 or something. And we had to go again on the Wednesday, and the league was near enough finished. You know, I think Celtic had decided that they had wrapped it up. By Christmas, they were 12 points ahead of us or something ridiculous like that, and we had come with a run. And we went back on the Wednesday with really the pressure off us, because we I think thought as well that we had blown any chances that we had. And it was a marvellous game. I can remember, I think Richard Goff was sent off in the game, and we were down to 10 men. We were losing 2-1, and we scored 2 late goals. I think a Paul Hegarty header and a Ralph Milne shot, and we finished winning the game 3-2. And it so happened, I think Celtic lost the following Saturday again, and it opened the whole league up. And we then knew it was all in our own hands. The last 6 games were incredible. The support, the travelling support was unbelievable. I think Dundee United started to put on buses, free buses for the support to travel to these games. And I think we all of a sudden started to feel it was maybe possible, and also the supporters at the same time. And I think we gelled together.
Sturrock turning well, being brought down, and that will be a penalty kick. Can't be any doubt about it. Now it's Bannon against Thompson. 1-0 to United. Deep one this time by Bannon. Goff got his head to it, and Sturrock makes it 2. Couldn't really have been simpler, but it was well executed. The deep, far-flung corner kick from Bannon. Goff won it comfortably, firm headed across. Sturrock left to get the touch, and in goes his 14th goal of the season. See what they can make of this. Fitzpatrick with a kick. Great header from Sumner. Bannon to take it, sliding it in, off the post, and Dodds completes the task. Well, it's down to Eamon Bannon's expertise from the dead ball. Beautifully flighted, Baines at full stretch, it came off the post. Dodds reacted first. Sturrock trying to tee it up for Stark. There's David Dodds. Neri coming through, great chance for United. Brilliantly finished by David Neri. Well, here's Milne taking on McLaughlin for pace. Great chance for United. Beautifully taken. Here's Paul Sturrock. Away from Duffy. Waiting in the middle is Dodds and Holt. There's David Dodds. And he's made it. Dodds gets his second. It's United's 4th. And now it's looking like a rout.
That was an exceptional performance, but really it was a home game for us, because we had paid either the admission money or the bus money for the supporters to go down there, and we had by far the more vocal support at that game. And that was a decision that we took at that time that was definitely, in the end, probably one of the reasons why we won the title. But it was really rolling at that time. It was easy to go on the park with the confidence buzzing right through the team.
After a 4-0 defeat of Motherwell, United were just 90 minutes away from the first Scottish League title. But it was desperately tight, with Celtic and Aberdeen just 1 point behind. Only victory in the final match at Dens would guarantee the championship.
The game before, I pulled a hamstring, and was very, very doubtful right up to the game, and probably shouldn't have played over at Dens Park, but obviously how big the game. And I remember I pulled it again halfway through, about 10-15 minutes into the first half, and played for the next hour with this strain in my right hamstring. And honestly, when the adrenaline's flowing and everything else, it wasn't as sore, as a normal hamstring pull was, because I was concentrating and the crowd was there and it was such a big occasion. It wasn't until I came off and I got substituted in the game that the pain became searing on the hamstring. That's mostly what I can remember about the tie. I remember also that Ralph Millen scored an incredible goal. Unbelievable finisher Ralph Millen was, and great vision. And I can also remember that Eamon Bannon took the penalty that the goalkeeper saved, and him and I were running in, and Eamon just managed to flick it back into the net again.
That is Neddy playing in midfield today with Richard Gough in centre defence. Milne wriggles clear, might just get the chip, and he does. He's scored! Oh, what a great goal! Looked as if he might be losing his balance, but he went for the chip, and he couldn't get a sweeter goal than that. 4 minutes gone, 1-0. There's Sturrock, and near he goes down, penalty kick. Bannon against Kelly. He saved it. That's it though. The second. Fraser. Up come the blue shots. There's Sinclair trying to get in. Ferguson. He's done it. 2-1. If it is possible, I have my eyes on the referee. It's gone. That's it. The finish. United have done it for the first time in their history. The Scottish Premier Division champions, and there is a man who walked out of Dens Park, where he was coached, down the road, and totally transformed the face of football in this city. There they are, the last drawer, as the team come back out, and as they come back out, we can, I think, there they are, they're coming back. The police are allowing them to come out with Jim McLean to greet the supporters, and I must say, I don't think I've seen scenes like this in Dundee before. A jam-packed crowd, thousands outside, and there's a man. Is he going to smile? Come on, Jim, give us a smile. He's done it.
United! We are the champions, and we go to Tannadice because the boys who wear the black and tangerine are gonna take us on a European dream. We are the champions, and we're Scotland's number one because we played the rest and put them out of sight. We are united.
On the 14th of May 1983, 6 minutes into the half, the ball soared over Kelly's head, and it was
Happy birthday, Ralph. We are the champions, and we go to Tannadice because the boys who wear the black and tangerine are gonna take us on a European dream. We are the champions, and we're Scotland's number one because we played the rest and put them out of sight. We are united.
Victory in the championship meant first-time entry to the European Cup, and Hamron Spartans were swept aside in the first round. United held tight in Belgium against Standard Liège, but but faced the home leg without an injured Paul Sturrock.
I watched from the stand that night the best European performance I've ever seen from a player. Again, Ralph Millen, who I think himself destroyed Standard Liège, and we run out coasted to a 4-0 victory that night.
A powerful display of real quality by Dundee United. Eamon Bannon's cross headed in by Ralph Milne. 26 minutes gone, and that's 1-0. And it was Milne again in the last attack of the first half, springing the offside trap, and a very confident finish from Milne. The pattern the same in the second half. Paul Hegarty's header making it 3-0. Indeed, the Belgian champions were totally dominated, and Standard Liège conceded a fourth goal, slid in by Davy Dodds to complete a splendid night for Dundee United.
Victory over the Belgian champions was followed by a 2-1 defeat by Rapid Vienna in the quarter-final first leg, but the players were spurred on by remarks made by the Austrian manager.
I can always remember, again, a silly quote from the manager of Vienna after the 2-1 game in Vienna, that he felt that we were the poorest team he had ever played in Europe. We, luckily enough, were able to make him eat his words in the second game. Though the score shows 1-0, there was far more in the game than that result showed.
And playing it for Goff, and that little moment of hesitation on the part of Richard Goff, allowing the ball to run for the throw, but it was deflected. There's Coyne. Chance now for Stark. And Davy Dodds makes it for United. 21 minutes gone, and Dodds gets the vital goal.
Davy Dodds' first-half goal was enough to defeat the confident Austrians and booked United a place in the semi-finals of the European Cup. Their opponents, the Italian champions Roma.
Kick to Milne. Still has it. Tries it across to Dodds. Brilliant move at the other end. Two great chances in 2 minutes. Milne did that well. Dodds wasn't just too sure, but made certain. Out to Goff. Goff back in. Oh! Chance for Bannon. Still not in, it's there! Davy Dodds scores! It's the breakthrough United wanted. Dundee United leading by 1-0. Critical goal scored in the 48th minute by Davy Dodds. Since then they've looked by far the better side. Looking for a second goal. There it goes, it's a goal! Goalkeeper absolutely nowhere. Derek Stark, what a thumper. Right in the corner.
2-0 going on about 5 that night. You know, I think we walked in at the end of the game and said to ourselves that we probably had the best chance ever to finish a tie. Some of the chances we missed, and their goalkeeper seemed to have one of those kind of birthday nights. And I always remember that their managers had accused us of being on drugs that night, which I thought was unbelievable. I thought it's just that, again, our home style was to pressure the opposition, and they were just not used to it. They just could not handle it. But you could see signs of how good a team they were.
One of the sad memories for me was the experience in Rome in the return leg, and really it's one that I never look back at. And I say right here and now that I've got the video of that match, and I've never watched the 3-0 defeat over there, because really it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
I can remember I got taken off with about 8 minutes to go, and at the end of the game their whole team were over to our dugout, right over. You know, they were very, very hostile. There was you know, a lot of jostling and pushing as we went back to the changing rooms, and also we had our bus stoned after the game. So I was saying to myself, I wouldn't have liked to be in there had we walked out with a victory, especially having to come back there again because the final was played on their pitch.
Undoubtedly, a European Cup final against Liverpool would have been an incredible experience for United, but their achievement in reaching the semis should never be underestimated. The hopes of Standard Liège and Rapid Vienna lay in tatters, and the Italians had had the fright of their lives. Others were to perish at the hands of United in the UEFA Cup 2 years later.
Funny enough, the hardest game we had in all the games we played in Europe was the first game against Lens. I think we went to Lens and played and lost 1-0. And because it was so early in the season with so many new players, we could have possibly lost that game 3 or 4-0 on the night. I can remember Billy Thompson having 2 or 3 very good saves in the game, and some atrocious misses from the Lens players. And it gave us the confidence then, 2 weeks later we won 2-0 here, but was more comprehensive, the victory, than the result showed. And then we had difficult ties going to the Ironton University Craiova.
The Romanians held United in the first half at Tannadice and almost took a shock lead.
The second half, however, was a different story. Within 8 minutes, United were in front. A Milne corner was nodded down by Clark, and Ian Redford was on the spot to turn the ball home. After that, it looked as if Rakolta in the Craiova goal would rob the home side of a convincing lead. A well-directed Redford header was superbly saved. Then a Bowman shot was acrobatically fisted clear. But in the last 10 minutes, the 2 vital goals came. A Bannon corner found the head of Paul Hegarty's outstanding deputy John Clark, and the keeper had no chance. Then in the dying seconds, a great Malpass run and shot saw the ball rebound to Redford, who nodded home his second.
A goalless draw in the return leg meant a third-round place against Hajduk Split from Yugoslavia.
There's a cross, the keeper in trouble. A great chance, and it's a goal. An important breakthrough for Dundee United, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Just almost on the half hour, 28 minutes gone, and Jim McInally, for whom things haven't run well at the moment, was there as that ball came over. Kept his cool, slotted it in left-footed into an empty net. United pushing extra men in the box as Sturrock does a quick about turn, trying to get it to his right foot, trying to hook it across. Clark's there in the goal! John Clark, 2-0, after a missed kick by Billy McKinlay. He really biffed it. What a beautiful goal. McKinlay completely miskicked, but Clark didn't. Tremendous shot, high into the corner. United lead 2-0.
That year we were very fortunate to get through the early rounds, and that we didn't meet exceptional teams, because I honestly think at that time we were, it most certainly was not the best team we've had here at Tannadice in the time that I've been here. But we grew in stature tremendously during that season.
And then obviously it came to the Barcelona game, which again I think is a highlight for everybody. Going back to, I can remember the Kevin Gallagher goal. I still maintain he didn't mean it. He says he does, but I just couldn't see it myself.
Ferguson coming back quickly to pick up the ball on the fence. He got the free kick for handball, and this is Paul Sturrock. And that's played away by Moratalia. Gallagher was hoping to get free on the right, but the United fans encouraged as the throw is quickly taken towards Sturrock. There's Gallagher. A perfect start for Dundee United. Here Ferguson leads the celebrations, but the man who got the goal was young Kevin Gallagher. Look at this on the volley, driving it beyond Zubizarreta into the far corner, and it's a dream start for United. Here's Victor for Barcelona. St. John showing his Liverpool bias, perhaps. Carrasco's cross, a chance now for Barcelona. They're queuing up on the line, and a lucky break for Billy Thompson. He did very well indeed.
And really, the 2 games against Barcelona were so exciting to play in. Going to the new camp, I can remember walking out, and our fans, who there must have been about 1,400 of them, were way at the top. They were just a speck at the top of the new camp stadium. And I can remember losing a goal in the 44th minute. A corner kick, Billy Thompson, and I was on a post at that time. Billy Thompson just got the minutest touches and just skiffed it past my leg into the net.
We make it exactly 5 minutes to half time.
And I can always remember walking in and feeling, you know, we deserved more out of that half. We had played better football than they had, and we came out the second half. Again, I think Barcelona felt it was all over. It was just a matter of time before they scored.
That's the scoreline in the background. Aggregate, though, is 1-0. United are now in the driving seat. And I'm keeping my eye on the watch. Here's Sturrock as go offside. Sturrock. Could he kill it? There's the chip. He might do it. Oh, magnificent. Ferguson scores. And the Barcelona crowd are rising to them and applauding. 2-1 for United on the night. 3-1 in aggregate, and Sturrock, one of the stars, hooking up, shooting, and there, Ian Ferguson, running it in, and there goes the final whistle. Dundee United are through to the semi-finals of the UEFA Cup. A thoroughly deserved achievement. Coming here and beating one of the most expensively acquired teams in Europe.
Really, confidence in that team grew most certainly after the Barcelona result. Not only in the home leg winning 1-0, but in particular winning over there. That's when we really believed we could beat anybody on their own territory. And that team was exceptional away from home.
Now maybe when the Dundee United fans saw that the next out the hat was Borussia Mönchengladbach, hearts fell a bit. How did you feel going into that game?
At that time, we were on the crest of a wave. You know, we were winning. I think we were through by then to the final of the Scottish Cup. We had everything was going for us, and we had no problems about that. Obviously, the game here, we probably deserved to win. I think 1-0 would have been. We had a couple of chances that we should have tucked away. But walking off the park, I always remember one of their centre halves walking over to me and going like that in Germany, I think, as if to say we were out, you know. And again, going to Borussia, as I've said it before, there's so many teams who feel that once they've done their job away from home, it's just all going to happen in their own country. And really, Borussia never kicked the ball in their own stadium.
And Neri has joined Paul Hegarty in the box. Camps beats it out. There's Bannon. The chance is on, and there's Ferguson. And Dundee United have scored. The goal stands. Jubilation for Ian Ferguson. The Barkelsberg Stadium is silenced apart from the clutch of Dundee United supporters who've gone wild behind Billy Thompson's goal. The corner kicks it up. Camps was not convincing, beating it out. It was a fine header here by Eamon Bannon, getting up on the 6-yard line, nodding it to Ferguson. A powerful header, front sec couldn't reach it, and United have taken the lead. Well, Mr. Dos Santos becoming much more of a central figure in the action. There it goes to Borowka, off the post. And thumped away from Ron, and there's Dave Bowman, and the United defence survives once again. And the performances justify that tonight. Outstanding in defence, superbly organised in midfield, and very dangerous on the break. Here's Kevin Gallagher, he's away from Herlofsson. Can he do it all by himself? Here's Redford waiting in the middle. Here's Gallagher, now Redford, a great chance for United second. There's Redford, yes! The night of glory is completed by Ian Redford, and Jim McLean celebrates Kevin Gallagher's coolness under pressure, setting it up for Redford. How about this for coolness at this stage in the match? It was away past Camps, and the final whistle has gone. Dundee United are through to the UEFA Cup final, and they'll face Gothenburg, who qualify tonight. that the celebrations begin among the United players going to greet their fans. This has been one of the finest performances in history by a Scottish club side.
A string of memorable aggregate victories had taken United through to the two-leg UEFA Cup final against IFK Gothenburg. But a 1-0 first-leg defeat in Sweden was followed by the loss of the Scottish Cup final to St Mirren.
After the Scottish Cup final, I think we were physically drained and mentally drained, but more mentally. You know, where was after the cup final, everything going to, well, we're going to lose everything. You know, was it going to be slip out our grasp? More these doubts and self-doubts we started to come through our minds. And when we came to playing this game, I obviously thought we did very well over in Gothenburg. We were a bit disappointed we'd lost a goal, and probably merited better out of the game. But when we came here, I felt that we had the ability to beat the team. But it was just having the confidence to beat Gothenburg. And when we lost the early goal, I think everything went against us then. You know, we were just on a downer from then on. And though we still tried to pressure them and we gave our lot for 90 minutes, we knew that really, I think subconsciously we knew it was going to be an uphill battle to peg this back.
United making progress on the ground this time. And no free kick, that looked like obstruction. Here's a break on for Nielsen. Paul Sturrock was aggrieved. Here's Nielsen taking on Clark. And that's the goal which United were dreading. Lennart Nielsen, 22 minutes into the first half. Nevertheless, the free kick taken short to McInally. Here's Malpass. Better play from United. Sturrock has freedom on the left. There's Ian Ferguson. Well, you can't come much closer than that. Good recovery though by Ferguson. Good play on the touchline. Here's John Clark. Good play from Clark. And there's the equaliser. And that is a magnificent goal from John Clark. Now just look at this for quality striking. Turning away from his marker, the left foot shot, swerving away from Bernison, in off the post. And United are right back in the match. The area looking for Clark. That's towards Gallagher. And it couldn't be closer. The referee is checking with his bench. Gunnar Bengtsson is on his feet, and there goes the final whistle. Relief for the Swedish bench. IFK Gothenburg have won the UEFA Cup, and you really can't take anything away from them. There's their supporters. Lennart Nielsen being hugged. The flags are waving, and the United flags also waving as the United players go to collect their losers' medals. So there's Paul Sturrock, Billy Thompson going through, the United fans appreciating supreme efforts from Dundee United this season. They've made such a contribution to the season, both in Europe and at home. And in the end, they finish up, sadly, with no winners' medals to show for all their efforts over 70 long matches.
I think the fans' appreciation in the end was incredible. I think the appreciation was for the season as much as for the UEFA final. I think the surprise of the Gothenburg players for the ovation they got, but you know, it'll be a night I'll never forget because of how the support treated the whole game. You know, they were obviously disappointed. The players were disappointed. The club was disappointed, but they made it a great night even through disappointment.
Well, I think that if you ask for any less than perfection, you most certainly will get less. And we've only won 3 trophies. And obviously I'm supposed to have asked for perfection. I think if I had asked for less, then most certainly we would have lost some of the trophies that we've won.
Well, I think the thing is that he is a disciplinarian. He is a hard man to please. The man's a perfectionist. The man wants you to play to 100% to your capabilities. Now, if you do not give that, he's more angry that the player hasn't given it. You understand? So the player has let himself down, but also he's letting his teammates down. And I think if you run a club very strictly and you run a club that you do not allow players at times to be below the standard that he knows they can get, the only thing you can achieve is success. To me, what have Dundee United done in the past 15 years is incredible in Europe and in Scotland, and long may it last.
We are the champions,
is uniquely United's triumph this afternoon. There they are, ready to celebrate. I'm keeping my eye on that dugout, because they're going to come out of it like greyhounds out of a trap, and who can blame them? The championship is on. If it is possible, I have my eyes on the referee. It's gone. That's it. The finish. United have done it for the first time in their history. The Scottish Premier Division champions, and there is a man who walked